Okay. Okay, Nirvan, all the best. You guys are ready to go. I'll just give you a cue to start, okay? Here we go. You guys are ready. All the best.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Chandbagh Debates 2020. This has been an abnormal year, to say the least. Chandbagh Debates and take home some learning, be it a new perspective, insight, or idea. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome the batch of 1995 for their virtual Silver Jubilee, and also introduce our chairperson for the debate, Dr. Jagpreet Singh, Headmaster of the Doon School. Since this is Sir's first founders and first Chandbagh debate, I would like to extend a warm welcome to him from the Doon School community at large. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the debate. I would now like to request Dr. Singh to take the stage and continue the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirvair. Thank you for this warm welcome. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the annual Founders Day Chandbagh Debate 2020. So happy to have boys from the Silver Jubilee batch of 1995 on a virtual platform. We are all aware of the motion for today's debate. The House believes teachers contribute more to a student's success than parents. We have a distinguished panel of judges for the debate. Our first judge for today is Ms. Saloni Goyal. Ms. Saloni Goyal is an alumna of Welham Girls' School and did a graduation from IIT Delhi. Later, she acquired a second master's degree in environment and development from the London School of Economics. Ms. Goyal has been working as an environment, sanitation, and sustainability expert for last 20 years. She led the sanitation work during the Kumbh Mela in 2019. Delivering an open, defecation-free, garbage-free, and order-free Mela, the successful implementation culminated with the award of Guinness World Records for Sanitation and IIT Delhi Alumni of Year Award for the year 2019. She is currently engaged as a climate change specialist with the Niti Aayog. In the past, Ms. Goyal has worked in United Nations Environment Program in the domain of marine litter and plastic pollution. She has also worked in the World Bank-funded UP Health System Strengthening Project as environment management expert. Her pioneering small biomedical waste management system is currently being implemented across the state. She received the Kalam Award for Innovation in Governance and the Times Group Digital India Award for this work. Saloni is also a proud mother of the two sons who graduated from the Doon School, and both passed out with flying colors. I thank Ms. Saloni Goyal for taking time out to be here with us. Thank you, ma'am. Our second judge today is Mr. R.P. Devgan. Mr. Devgan is a prominent educationist with a career spanning 50 years. He taught English at the Doon School from 1968 to 1995 and was the housemaster Tata House from 1980 to 1992 and later the Dean of Admissions. He moved on to head premier institutions like YPS Patiala and YPS Mohali. He also set up many schools in India and abroad. He helped set up Gilco School, a project close to 100 crores. He spent a few years in Indonesia, where he set up the Rama International School in Purwakarta and Gandhi Memorial International School in Bali, of which he was the founder principal as well. He also headed the Gandhi Memorial School in Jakarta. Currently, he's on the board of trustees of the Welham Boys School. Mr. Devgan is an avid sportsman too. He has represented Uttar Pradesh state in the Ranji Trophy and Kent in the English County Championships. He has played squash at the national level in India and was runners-up at the Heidelberg Open Squash Championship in Germany. He has played football at the university level and tennis and table tennis at the district levels. He has even led various mountaineering expeditions in the Himalayas. He was part of the 13-member rafting expedition down to Sap, Zanskar, and Indus rivers. This was the first descent of the Sap. This is the stuff that Doon School Masters are made of. Sir, it is truly an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our third judge for today is Mr. Ajay Pratap Singh Garewal. Ajay Pratap Singh Garewal, 68O, is an SC Form student who's currently serving as the school captain. Ajay is also the school athletics captain and secretary of the games committee. During his life here at Chandbagh, Ajay has been an active part of the school hockey, football, and athletics team, and was awarded the Games Blazer for his contribution to the sports. Ajay is currently pursuing the ISC curriculum and plans to study economics and business after school. Ajay, thank you for being with us today in the campus of Chandbagh. Our panel of judges is clearly quite diverse. It would be interesting to know their views about the topic later. In today's debate, we have, in proposition, the old boys, that is the Silver Jubilee batch of 1995, and opposing them would be the present boys of the Doon School. On side proposition, we have first speaker, Mr. Nakul Sood, 610JB. After Doon, Nakul went on to receive degrees both from the Delhi University and the New York University. He used to work as a filmmaker and cinematographer before beginning his own camera and professional audio-related manufacturing business, which is called Incred Applications. Beyond this, he entered the IT industry, where his company has developed a diverse presence. In school, Nakul was an avid sportsman and also on the board of the weekly. He also participated in the Shanti Swaroop Shankar Dayal Sharma essay writing competitions and won prizes and positions too. Nakul also served in the AV squad. As the second speaker, Mr. Vikram Sohoni, 664HA. Ladies and gentlemen, Vikram is joining us from Chicago. I hope you've had some Chota Hazri, Vikram. Vikram is a senior partner at McKinsey and Company. He has done his graduations from the Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania. He's also a member of the board of directors at the World Business Chicago. He's currently pivotal in helping companies across the many sectors on digital and broader technological issues. He's a board observer for Hyperscience and AI Automation Company. In school, Vikram was house captain of HA and was awarded the Scholars Blazer, school colors and house colors. He represented the school at several inter-school debates and quizzes. He was also on the editorial board of the weekly and editor of some other publications, like The Echo and cartoonist for the weekly for several years. He took up running after school and has completed 7 marathons. He also enjoys horse riding and squash. Vikram is married to Ruchika and has 2 kids, Veer and Kaira. The third speaker for side proposition is Mr. Ashwin Bhatia. Ashwin Bhatia, 636TB, joined school in what was then E form in 1988, following several of his family, including his father, elder brother, uncle, and cousins, who were all proud Tata House boys before him. Ashwin was an all-rounder at school and was equally at home on the sports field as he was in the classroom and outside of it, and threw himself into pretty much all the extracurricular activities that the school had to offer. He was captain of the school cricket team and represented school and UP State in basketball, at the same time as being the chief editor of the Doon School Weekly and picking up various acting awards. He was the house captain Tata B and was awarded his school colors for his varied contributions to school. Besides all this, ladies and gentlemen, he was the Welham girls' heartthrob. After finishing school, Ashwin went to the UK to study economics at Bristol University, and later on also completed his MBA and instead between France and Singapore. He has worked in financial services industry for the last 20 years in a variety of different roles across Citibank, American Express, and now MasterCard, where he's currently Vice President, Business Development. Ashwin lives in London with his wife and 2 young daughters. He loves to travel, cook, and eat great food and play golf, all preferably at the same time. On side opposition, we have first speaker, Raghav Kedial. Raghav Kedial, 23T, is an SC Form student pursuing ISC. He enjoys debating and writing and has served in editor-in-chief of the Vibgyor in his S Form. He is a senior editor of the yearbook and often publishes articles in the weekly and other magazines. Raghav is also a school team swimmer and has even been selected to represent the IPSC team at the national level swimming competition twice. Raghav serves as the boy in charge of the history and politics and English public speaking societies. He's also competitively, MUNs have even served as the vice president of the DSMUN. He wishes to pursue an undergraduate degree from Delhi University and aspires to become a civil servant. The second speaker is Nirvair Singh. Nirvair Singh, 2T, is a student of SC Form, currently pursuing the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. He is the secretary of the Senior English Debating Society and has taken part in various debating and MUN competitions throughout his time in the school. He's also the editor-in-chief of the Doon School Information Review. Nirvair has also taken part in the various house and school productions and won awards for the same. His interests include biology, chemistry, and wishes to pursue a career in the intersection school of those fields. The third speaker is Adit Chatterjee. Adit Chatterjee, 629T, is a student of SC Form, currently pursuing IB Diploma Program. He is captain of the school debating team and has won numerous awards at a number of debating tournaments. Apart from this, Adit is a writer and serves as the editor of the Doon School Weekly. He also takes an active stance in the school community as a senior member of the school council and an active participant in school's environmental society. Adit is well involved in MUN circuit of the school and has represented the school on numerous occasions. He's also a member of the school swimming team and has gone to represent the IPSC at the national level as well. He hopes to work in the field of sustainable development and energy, but maintains a keen interest in international relations. Now, boys, I'm just going to read out the rules of today's debate. In today's debate, the speakers of each side will get 4 minutes to present the substantive speech and with a grace period of 30 seconds after the time has expired. Speakers will informed of their timings. Judges may penalize speakers for exceeding their time limit. The first two speakers of each side will be asked a question by the other side to which they have to reply within a minute. At the end of all three speakers have spoken, there will be a 2-minute break, after which a speaker from the opposition will give a summative argument to which a speaker from the proposition will reply. The reply speakers will receive 3 minutes for their speeches with a similar grace period of 30 seconds. The order of the speakers in today's debate will be as follows. First speaker, proposition. Then would be the first speaker, opposition. Then there will be second speaker, proposition, and second speaker, opposition, followed by third speaker proposing and the third speaker opposing. Then there would be reply speech by the opposition and the reply speech by the proposition. Speakers are to note that the time cards will be shown after each minute, counting upwards. There will be a stop card shown after the grace period of 30 seconds has expired, which will mark you to end the debate. I also want to share with you that we conducted a pre-debate survey. And ladies and gentlemen, the results reveal that 47.3% of audience believe that teachers contribute more to the success of students, while 52.7% believe that parents contribute more to the students. A survey will be shared in the comment section of our social media platform that shall take the opinion of the audience during the debate also. So look for it, keep voting, keep putting your polls in. That may give a total change review when we meet after the debate. So now, without any further ado, I would like to call upon the first speaker of the side proposing the motion, Nakul Sood.
Thank you. A very good afternoon to all of you virtually present, the new headmaster, teachers, parents, DOSCOs, and old boys. The motion for today's debate is that this House believes teachers contribute more to a student's success than parents. Given the nature of the motion, and as the first speaker, my task is to outline the frame as one reality. The three assumptions that we are making is that we are not debating genetics, we are not debating nutrition, and we are not debating the silver spoon. We are not debating genetics because if your parents have given you Dhakkan genes, there won't be much any teacher can do to make you a success. Second, we take nutrition as a given. We are assuming that parents and the societal structure has fed a child to bring him or her to the place where they can become a student, and the influence of a teacher or a parent can take effect. It has been scientifically proven that if a child does not get a basic level of nutrition, at least till the age of 8, they're going to have a stunted IQ, which would severely limit their chances of success. And thirdly, we are not debating the silver spoon or privilege. If you're born with a silver spoon, your chances of success, though not guaranteed, are far greater. And your inherited wealth is directly responsible for that. For the sake of the debate, we need to define two words very clearly: teachers and success. We are defining teachers as individuals in educational institutions and the whole formal educational system that shapes a student. We are not debating who is a teacher, because in a way, everyone is a teacher, including our parents. The second and most critical word we have to define is what is success. Is it the happiness quotient of a person, a Ferrari, a string of beautiful women, Is it the creation of an upstanding citizen, an individual with moral and ethical integrity? Or is it someone with material possessions and wealth? There can be many metrics of success. For the sake of this debate, we are going to take the widest base, the most common parlance, the lowest common denominator. As Webster defines it, success is the fact of getting or achieving wealth, respect, or fame. If you ask people from a wide cross-section of society, especially our Indian society of privation, what is success? Most people are going to say that it is the collection and accumulation of wealth. A more sophisticated milieu may say professional excellence or fame, which is just another word for wealth. I'm sorry to say, but that is what success in the most basic way is. The simple idea of success is wealth. I or we may not subscribe to it, but that is what it most commonly means. And for the sake of this debate, we cannot ignore that reality. The world of success that DOSCOs pass out into after school is a world of economic transactions, of demand and supply, of money and goods for services, of surplus cash, of profit, of savings and wealth, where we get paid for what we know and what we can do. Now the question, how do most people become successful? How do they achieve professional excellence? How do they create and accumulate wealth? The answer is written on the first landing of the staircase in the main building, between our headmaster's foot and martyr, below the Doon School lamp, knowledge, our light. Our education, our learning, our teachers in school, in college, in universities, the ones that impart knowledge to us, that which our parents can't. The reason our parents sent us to them. The professionals, the specialists that teach and train us in the areas that our parents can't. Our parents have given us strong feet. Our teachers teach us how to walk and how to run, how to learn, how to grow, and how to stay relevant. Thank you.
I now invite Adit Chatterjee for the point of information.
Speaker, I'd like to know which statement you're more likely to agree with.
Sorry to interrupt. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes, 57 seconds.
Thank you, sir. Speaker, I'd like to know which scenario you're more likely to agree with. When a student does extremely well or extremely poorly in their academic or an examination, who are they more likely to go and speak of their failures, of their successes to? Their parents or their teachers?
It depends on their relationship with both of those people. If I'm extremely close to a teacher, I'll be going to the teacher to speak to them.
Well, thank you, Nakul.
Sure, sir.
I would now like to call upon the first speaker of the side of opposition, Raghav Kedial.
Thank you. Aside from the 4.5 minutes of a Merriam-Webster dictionary definition that the first speaker gave to us, there wasn't much to know about what exactly a teacher does to contribute to our successes. It was only elaborated when Adit gave them a POI that in certain instances, a child may go to a teacher depending on their relation and thus request for the teacher's assistance in times of success. We tell you that true to their age, they don't have an understanding of the adolescent world and what it means to be in Doon right now. Doon has changed phenomenally. We have a greater connect with our parents, thus allowing us to be more communicative and more in contact with our parents. We have more phone call timings. We have more social media. We have social media allowed on weekends to communicate with our parents. We have more events for parents to come to school and take us on outings. We have better transportation to Dehradun, providing for parents to come more. Thus, any connect that they might say that only forms in Doon among students and teachers, we tell you that that's outdated. And in fact, the parent connect is still strong in Doon. Further, more competitive. The first speaker also mentioned this in his own speech about how the world's become more academic centric. We tell you Doon as a premier institution of the country has also changed in such a direction. Thus, the school that they remember has changed more to one which is academic oriented and looks more towards the performance of a student. Therefore, we tell you that we have more parental connect in school today and a more academic orientation of teachers. Before I get down to my own constructive, I would like to wish a good afternoon to the panel of judges, chairmen, old boys, and all audience members who are viewing this live stream. It would have been my pleasure as the leader of opposition to welcome you to the majestic multi-purpose hall, but seeing the current conditions, I believe the Zoom call and a live stream would have to suffice. And Adit Navar and I would have also loved to defeat the old boys in as auspicious a place as the MPH, but I believe for that to a kind of development that a parent brings about you is qualitative. It is a holistic development of your personality, of your values, your morals, your ethics. Whereas what a teacher gives you is quantitative growth about your marks, about your performance, about your college, and things like this. Therefore, when we create this dichotomy between how a teacher adds to you and how a parent adds to you, it shows you the difference in how they would help you. But before I get down to my own argument, the second speaker, Navar, will come up and talk about how parents provide a superior incentive structure as compared to teachers. So what am I talking to you about? I'm telling you that because of the childhood upbringing phase under which you're under your parents, that helps you phenomenally when it comes to success, thus meaning that parents contribute more towards your success than your teachers do. Psychologists and scientists around the world like Piaget agree that ideas that are inculcated in you from a young age are what determine your ability that enable your actions for the future. We tell you that the 10 years that you spend before Doon with your parents are where you develop fundamental things, your fundamental building blocks, like your moral compass, where you decide what is right and what is wrong. You learn your basic skills through practices, coachings, or activities that your parents involve you in. You get an outlook into life by mirroring their actions or seeing them or learning from them. And you get your generalized behavioral tendencies. You get a work ethic from your parents. You get a discipline from your parents. What else do we tell you? We tell you that success is derived from your ability to act. It comes from your direct actions, your ability to get up and work. These direct actions, we tell you, can only and only happen because of the basic founding block, the most fundamental principles that your parents instilled in you from a young age. This moral compass, these basic skills, this outlook, this work ethic, all of these are the things that allow you to act today in order to succeed. Now, out of fear of facing fury from my teachers on Monday, I'd like to clarify that we don't mean to undermine how important a teacher is. No doubt, a teacher helps a lot in a student's success. But when we're comparing it, we tell you on the comparative, a parent is more responsible and contributes more for a student's success. Why is this? Because if a parent doesn't provide you with that most central, the most basic building block based off of which you can act, that does not allow for a teacher to add and nurture. Undoubtedly, a teacher adds on to and nurtures the values and principles instilled in you, but they wouldn't be able to add on to anything if your parents didn't give you anything. Furthermore, we tell you that school in its own structure, it reinforces the belief that parents contribute and are more responsible for the successes of a child than a teacher. How is this? This is done through PTMs, where parents are called once every term to know about their students' academic performance. This is done through report cards, subject reports, activity reports that parents get to know whether their children are succeeding, what they need to change, how they could become better. We even see this in complaints, how if a student gets an HC or a YC or an RC, the parent is the first person who is noticed and nobody else, showing that the school on its own believes that it's the parent who contributes more and the parent is the most responsible person for their child. Finally, if the proposition comes up and talks about how we don't spend enough time with our parents when we come to Doon, and therefore our teachers impact us more because of how much of an echo chamber we are in with them, we tell you that this is wrong for 3 reasons. Firstly, because the parental connect with a parent is still ensured for a DOSCO student these days because of how much communication and because of how much communication has improved over the years. Secondly, we tell you that with this new parental connect, we can always renew parental connect every time we go for holidays and meet our parents. Thirdly, we tell you that the most, even if the first 2 things fail, the most basic foundational principle of who you are and what you do that allows you to succeed in the future comes only and only from your parents. I'm incredibly proud to oppose. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
May I now invite Ashwin Bhatia for the point of information.
Thank you. And thank you very much, Raghav, for that. You've saved me many years in therapy for telling me that it was my parents not liking me, the reason that they sent me to school. And it's great that to hear that there's a lot more contact between parents and students right now. However, the fundamental thing is that you actually contradicted yourself there, and I'd like to you talked a lot about how you were a lot more in touch with your parents, and that's great. But at the same time, you also said that the most important thing that's changed since our time in our echo chamber was that academic performance is now more important than anything else in the success and in the development of children. And I'd like to understand sort of who is responsible for that academic performance.
Right. Thank you very much. No, I think you misunderstood me. I'm not saying that. Right. I'm saying that academics is what is considered most important in the world. But as your first speaker said himself, I don't necessarily think that that is what the measure or the gauge for success is. Success is what you define as your individual success. It could be a person giving a speech even though they have stage fright, or it could be getting to the college of your dreams, or as they rightly pointed out, it could be getting a Ferrari of your dreams. We tell you that parents give you that. I mean, as I've told you time and again, it's parents who give you that ability to act, to ensure, to achieve all of these things. Whereas the school has now changed predominantly to looking at only academics. And we tell you that academics is not the only measure of success. And if you want to constrict success only to academics or to what college you get or what percentage of marks you get in your ISC exams, I tell you that, I mean, you'd lose the debate for constricting it to such a narrow view.
Thank you, Raghav. I would now like to call upon the second speaker of the side of proposition, Vikram Soni.
Thank you, Headmaster. Thanks for having us. And I should say, as I start, that it's interesting that 94, 95, we had the Uttarakhand agitations which disrupted that founders. 25 years later, we have this pandemic. 2045, I hope the world's still standing. So thanks for having us here. You know, the House believes that teachers contribute more to a student's success than parents. And I stand for the proposition today. Despite, Raghav, what you said, I don't envy your team that's going to trivialize this notion and so soon before your exams. So, you know, think about that as we talk about this. So jokes aside, this is a very poignant moment for the world. 1 billion students the world over are homeschooling. And typically teachers around the world have to play all sorts of roles. You have to be a counselor, you have to be an educator. Several millions or hundreds of millions of children get the main source of nutrition is at their schools. But now you have parents trying to educate their children at home. And it's a macabre natural experiment that nature is conducting in some way, proving this proposition. So you will only vote against this proposition if you think that kids staying home is fine. Otherwise, you will vote for it and you will vote with us. But let's extend that and look at the counterfactual. So what's happened in the past when there's been these kinds of disruptions? We found two relatively seminal papers, one called The Long Run Educational Cost of World War II, which looked at students in France and Germany, which were naturally affected by the war, and compared them to students in Switzerland and Sweden, which were less affected. And what it found is that there was a 15% loss in income, and that persisted as much as 40 years later. There was another paper on this effect on the Cultural Revolution in China by Gregory and Meng, and they found that there was a 40% disproportionate loss in income to the income differential just by educational qualification. So you will vote against this proposition if you're okay with a 40% drop in income. Otherwise, you will vote for it and with us. And Raghav, you've talked about the obverse to that. We just looked at in these examples at kids with parents without teachers. Well, what about kids with teachers without parents? Now you're saying that there's a much closer connect in school now between parents and teachers. Well, I'd submit that you're not yet successful in life. The people here on this team, they've shown that. The alumni that are watching this have shown that. And so to the alumni, I would say you will only vote against this proposition if you don't believe in Doon. Otherwise, you will vote for it and with us. Now, the proposition does overlook one critical element, the students themselves. It really is a trifecta. It's the teachers, it's the parents, it's the students. And our PD there, Mr. Devgan, taught me and taught actually all three of us The Lord of the Flies by William Golding, who was himself a teacher. And there was a real life Lord of the Flies where in Tonga, in the South Pacific, there were 6 kids, 6 boys who were shipwrecked for 15 months on an island. And they were their own teachers. They were their own society. They created a commune. They tended the flame. They tended to each other's injuries. And so we debated this question. We said, is it possible that we're missing the notion of parents or teachers and we're getting lost in that, and it's actually the students? But I go back to Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, after whom Teachers' Day is, after all, celebrated in India on September 5th. And he said something very profound. He said, true teachers teach us to think for ourselves. And so this emphasizes the teacher's role in the growth of the self as well. So teachers really represent a system. And that's why I think, Raghav, it was so important that Nakul actually laid the guidelines for this debate. They represent a system and infrastructure of learning that confers benefits from their self-reinforcing effect. So whether it's a privileged institution like you belong to, we all belong to, endowed with great legacies, or the organizations with some of which I work with in Chicago, which help economically disadvantaged students access after-school programs, these systems plug students into disproportionate opportunities that their parents cannot, in some cases, sadly, will not provide them. So from the Spartans who sent their children to Agogs at the age of 7, to Sachin Tendulkar in Shivaji Park with Ramakant Shrekar, the role of the teacher is indeed one that assumes primacy in our view. It is of no surprise, therefore, that in our scripture, we refer to teachers as Gurudev, akin to God himself or themselves for the path they illuminate. And so I urge all of you to vote for this proposition. Thank you, and I'll take the questions.
May I now invite Raghav Kedial for the point of information.
Speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
So, who do you believe focuses more on the holistic development of a child, an academic-oriented teacher of the 21st century, or an obligated parent who cares about their child and their successes?
Well, I think, Raghav, it really is both. But who focuses more about the academic success, I think, is the teacher. I noticed that you had said that parents develop their children in qualitative ways, and teacher is all about quantitative with marks. I don't think that's right, because I would submit that the money that your parents are paying is certainly quantitative, and everything that I learned from my teachers, I learned a lot more about character, about development, about role modeling. There were some Goliaths in school that I still look up to. And these things are notions that you cannot learn from your parents. And these are things that only teachers can provide you.
Thank you so much, Vikram. I would now like to call upon the second speaker of the side of opposition, Nirvair Singh. Nirvair?
Our worthy opposition came out and talked to us about exceptions. They talked to us about COVID-19. They talked to us about children who don't have parents, and teachers are the only parental entity in their lives. But we are not talking about the exception. We're talking about the rule. We're talking about the masses. We're talking about all kids out there. We're talking about that C-former who has parents and has teachers. And we're looking at who helps him succeed. And that's where this debate's got lost, but I'm going to get it back on track. So very proud to oppose. Now let's go back to the Prime Minister's speech. Audit asked a POI about who a child would rather share their exam results with, a teacher or a parent. And the Prime Minister said that it depends on who you're closer to. Now, I have one response to that, which is that the incentive that parents provide is unmatchable by that of teachers, because you feel accountable to your parents. Since they sacrifice and compromise to give you the opportunity attending this institution, like a B-former attending Doon, and that is something that a teacher doesn't give you. So you're more likely to keep them in the loop. You're more likely to tell them about your highs and your lows and your successes and your failures, because you have mutual trust, you have mutual respect, and you feel accountable to them. And that is the value we see in parents. That is the value we see in parents, which is very important. Why? Because it incentivizes you to succeed. And then Let's move on to what the second speaker said, right? He was talking about a commune of 6 boys on an island teaching themselves, and he was quoting a renowned teacher because of whom Teachers' Day is celebrated. But the motion isn't about teaching. And I'd like to remind the house that again, it's about who, parents or teachers, work towards making a child succeed better. Who does it better? Who plays the bigger role? And now moving on to my argument, right, which is about how parents provide this superior incentive structure compared to teachers. So I have 2 layers of analysis for this. The first one is that all children, students, have an obligation to their parents. They pay your school fees, your tuition, they sacrifice and compromise to give you the best opportunities in life. That's fact. And this is not limited to sending you to Doon. They'll go out of their way, they'll go that extra mile to ensure you have best equipment for a hockey match, or even to send you on a sought after school trip, right? Their hard work, effort, and support is always at the back of your mind. And you think of them before a play, before an exam, before a job interview later in life, right? Because they've enabled you to do that. Teachers nurture, teachers support, I understand that. But it cannot replace a parent. And I'm going to tell you why. It is because parents have that shadow-like presence which motivates you. It can motivate you to pay more attention, to run another mile, or not land up in the deputy headmaster's office, right? You want to live up to their expectations. You want to show and share your success with them because their success is the reason why you've got the opportunities. You want to do that, right? And that pride or that smile that you see on their face, that is invaluable. And that characterizes the special bond that exists between parent and child, which is mutually exclusive. It's nothing a teacher can substitute because that's how the natural processes work. And moreover, it is because there's this incentive structure to show your parents your success, to see them proud of you, right? And especially you're doing because you're away, you're independent. This accountability is amplified because you now feel your parents are hundreds of miles away, but you want to do better. You feel motivated by the fact that they've given you this opportunity to do better. And therefore it's amplified to do, even though we're away from our parents. And my second layer of analysis is about how teachers can never substitute this parental bond. First of all, they keep changing. At Doon, we have 4 curriculums running simultaneously, and making a timetable or a teacher allocation is as difficult as making a bill in the parliament. DB so will know. And our only constant then becomes our housemasters, because tutors change and teachers change. So it's an ever-evolving system. And therefore, we tell you that we are not able to build such strong bonds with teachers today. Why? And see, they nurture us, they will teach us, they will motivate us, but it can never be the same because their attention is divided by 500 or is divided by 100 if you're a housemaster, for example, right? A parent devotes their heart and soul into their children. And no, yes, teachers support, motivate, nurture. I already said that, but before a chemistry exam, right? You think of 2 people. You think of your God, you think of your mother. And that motivates you. This image at the back of your head is irreplaceable by a teacher. And maternal-paternal bond is mutually exclusive. It makes you want to be the best version of yourself. Thank you.
May I now invite Nakul for the point of information.
The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
Hi, Nirvair. I think you can relax a little bit now. Okay. So I found your debate extremely confusing for a few reasons. Nowhere in this were we talking about replacing parents or questioning the bond between a parent and a child. So I don't know which direction you went off in, because I felt all of that was like completely wasted. Okay. I wanted to ask you a couple of things. Why did your parents send you to school if they could have made a success of you at home? That is one question. And the second part to this is, I take it that you won't be going to university because you don't want a professional degree and you don't want to become what the world calls a success. And please, can we get somebody from your side to define what success is? Because if success is buying an ice cream somewhere on the road and you're happy, if that is your definition of success, that's something that may not fit for everybody else. So that's why we had to define a broad term called success. And you guys are not even addressing that at all. And that was the crux of our debate.
Thank you for that. to answer the two questions that you asked me, the first one is about why my parents had me to do and if they could make me a success staying at home. But that's the thing, right? Had you been listening carefully, you would have, sort of been able to ascertain that I was saying that we come to Doon away from our parents, but they act as an incentive and a motivation. They send us here for our teachers to nurture us, to make us better at academics, teach us things, but they're at the back of your mind because they've sent you here. And therefore you feel accountable to them. You feel motivated by their presence, right? It's not about, it's not about whether they could have kept you home and made you, and you would have still been a success, or whether coming to Doon has made you that. The fact that your parents are always there for you and a teacher cannot replace that, that's because of the parental bond. That's because you are attached to your mother by an umbilical cord, right? That is what we're talking about. We're talking about success. We're not talking about Doon or a day school. And therefore, parents are the constant, teachers are dynamic in that sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirvair. I would now like to call upon the third speaker proposing the motion, Ashwin Bhatia.
Hi, sorry. Thanks very much, and thanks, Nirvair, for that extremely passionate description. When I think about motivation, of getting fit, for instance, Jane Fonda motivated me to get fit and be healthy, but it was actually Swaran Singh who actually made that happen, and that's made me the fit and healthy man that I am today, as you can all see. Mr. Chair, judges, members of the House, old boys, ladies and gentlemen, as well as whoever else is spying on us through this interweb thing. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you. Debating is so in nowadays, isn't it? You've got presidents doing it. You've got so-called news anchors, pence, 2 cents, 5 annas. Everyone has an opinion nowadays and is not scared to shove it down your throat, whether you want it or not. It's such a pleasure to have a debate with no TRPs to chase, no flies buzzing around and settling on our heads, and no shouting over each other or telling each other to just shut up, man, or at least not as yet. To begin with, I contend that this is a really unfair topic. Nakul, Vikram, and myself have been students. Some of us are parents. We have been mentors, and some of us can even be described as vaguely successful. So we are speaking from a place of knowledge and experience on this topic. The boys have only seen one side of this, and so cannot be expected to argue both sides of the debate with any conviction nor credibility. And while I have to commend the boys for their passion and for their valiant attempt, I think let's leave this one to the experts. I'll return to experts in a little while. Nakul and Vikram have gone through a thorough and expertly are safe. I think all parents and the opposition will agree that if homeschooling were to continue for any longer, we could forget about our kids achieving any type of success outside of perhaps becoming Netflix reviewers or masters of Minecraft. In fact, the only upside of me trying to teach my kids for 6 months of this year before the schools in the UK reopen is that they now have a newfound appreciation for school and for their teachers and can't wait to get to school every morning. The opposition will argue that parents choose the school and sometimes even the university that they send their kids to, so they are ultimately responsible for their children's success. Let me ask you this: who is credited with doing a life-saving critical surgery? Is it the insurance company who picks up the bill, or the expert surgeon that does the life-saving surgery? In a similar vein, everyone has heard of give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Mr. President, sir, members of the House, in the choppy seas of the big, bad, real world, sorry for the pun, parents put fish in front of their kids on a daily basis, but it is teachers who are the experts that teach the kids how to fish. As Nakul brought out so eloquently in the opening speech, schools are the place that parents send their kids to lay the foundation for success in later life. They send them to school and to the teachers as they do not have the time nor the expertise to inculcate learning in the most formative part of the child's lives, particularly in today's frenetically paced world, when many a time you have 2 working parents leading very busy life. This is no truer than in boarding schools such as Doon, which begs the question, why have your parents sent you to Doon rather than teaching you at home? Why are they prepared to pay the 10 lakhs in fees? If it's for sports fields and to build a network, then you're better off paying 5 lakhs or less for Delhi Gymkhana membership. It's for the teaching, because teachers are experts. In closing, a word of warning to my young opponents. If your parents have taught you well and taught you to be successful, you will be smart enough to realize that there is only one way to argue on this debate. Arguing that your teachers, most of whom are listening, by the way, today, do not play an important enough role in your education and success will come back to bite you when it comes to end-of-year report cards and exams. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 35 seconds.
Thank you, Ashwin. I would now like to call upon the third speaker of the side of opposition, Adit Chatterjee.
Panel, I find it awfully funny that even though I am 1 year away from being an adult, I still have no idea about how to file my tax returns or how to look at a bank statement and understand it fully. It is only after discussions with my mother that I actually know that these things and these concepts exist, and that I need to know of these things in order to have a somewhat stable financial situation in the future. But let's look at this debate and stray away from our personal examples and our anecdotes, right? Because let's understand that all of us are from extremely privileged backgrounds, and we are not representative of even 10% of the population, much less the entire world. So when we move to these personal anecdotes, we automatically disqualify the rest of the world that faces active problems that parents solve that teachers cannot. And therefore, we need to spend an active focus on the stakeholders of this debate. In our very first speech of side proposition, we got an amazing economic lesson about exactly why economics was the future of success. And we do agree that knowledge plays an important role. But what side proposition does not understand is that when they reduce the success or the metric of success to numbers, then through this numbers game, they cannot exactly disregard the concept of the silver spoon either, because they cannot give that advantage of teachers, which is the societal role, to provide these students with the abilities to gain marks, without talking about the parent societal role to be able to provide for their children in order to gain these educations. So when you automatically make this a numbers game, then the numbers of the parents become extremely important. And it is a known fact, and this is the reason why many standardized testing formats are being disqualified all over the world, such as the SAT, because it is known that a higher socioeconomic status automatically equates to a higher SAT score. So are you really telling me that even though a SAT tutor was the one who guided me, and therefore his impact was by side proposition's beliefs, that he was the only person impacting this education, the very fact of the matter is it was the parents' socioeconomic status that afforded this student the SAT tutor in the first place. When you look at this, right now, obviously they're going to look at us and say that, okay, we're not talking about parents spending 10 lakhs on the Doon school, right? But they've automatically already narrowed this debate down into a debate where marks is the metric of success. And therefore we tell you that when you use marks as a metric of success, that's when the parent's socioeconomic status becomes exceedingly important. More importantly, the opportunities that parents' socioeconomic status gives to them means that children can actually attend online schools in the first place. What about those children that can't attend online school because they can't afford a phone? The very fact that parents define whether or not the child can even get an education in the first place is proof of the impact that a parent has on a child's success. But let's say a parent can afford all the education in the world. How does the student make use of this? Is this determined by the teachers who the student barely interacts with for a year before getting a new teacher? Or is this determined by the parents who brought up the child for nearly 12 years before sending them off to a boarding school? Which is, of course, side proposition's best example. Because in day schools, many teachers don't even remember their students after 2 years of teaching because there are thousands of students and not enough teachers. So the fact that they're trying to give us these personal anecdotes of the way that teachers have guided them, I'm not convinced by the fact that they believe that teachers who are ever changing can ever have that much more of an emotional impact than an actual parent. But furthermore, we gave you a dichotomy between the qualitative and quantitative success, right? And this is where we get into the chunk of the debate. How do we define success? I've already proven to you that when you define it by a number, then the parent's status does become important, because you cannot give that advantage to teachers without looking at the advantage of parents, right? Because we have to understand the societal roles. It is not a parent's job to be teaching them about accounting. when that is the teacher's job. And therefore you cannot disregard parents and say because they aren't doing that, they automatically have less of an impact. Therefore, when we remove the quantitative aspect and we look solely at the qualitative aspect, we also prove to you that once again we have won this side of the debate due to the simple aspect of the fact that parents act as both the carrot and stick for the students' educational success. Because when we tell you that a child is automatically inspired, motivated, and guided by his parents, and the very fact that teachers themselves report students to the parents rather than taking that onus upon themselves proves that even teachers themselves accept the societal role as an educator but not a mentor. And we tell you that in the certain instances, like when our first speaker of proposition was asked about who a student would report their marks to, he admitted that it was only in a slight number of cases where the person actually had a close relationship with the teacher would the teacher actually be would the teacher actually be gone to. And therefore we tell you that their best case only exists in a very small strata of today's population. And on our side of the debate, we've shown you why the quality of students depends on both the parents' socioeconomic status, but even when you disregard that, it still depends on the parents. And therefore I'm extremely proud to oppose.
The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 53 seconds.
Thank you, Adit. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have 2 minutes break when both the teams will now be preparing their summative reply speech. But you please be with us online. We want to actually see you watch this beautiful film, 85 Years of the Doon School. This is specially prepared for all of you. Kindly watch.
Headmaster, you're live.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to see the chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal, here with us. May I please humbly request you, sir, if you can join us for a small address and motivate all the debaters and everyone watching you. Mr. Sunil Kant Munjal.
Thank you, Headmaster, and greetings to everyone who's watching this. My compliments to the two teams on a wonderfully crafted argument and a proposition, why it really matters. The competition between our parents and teachers, always a difficult one to answer. And as I can see, each team, each debater is putting forth their best foot forward to try and convince us that they are in the right, their argument is the right one. And that truly is the spirit of Doon School. Thank you very much, Headmaster and the team at school, for organizing this in very difficult circumstances. We do appreciate the challenge that all of you face in putting this together while remotely managing this for many of the debaters themselves who are in the UK and the US, and of course, many in India. Thank you to the jury and the judges. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And it is a delight for us to continue and celebrate founders as we would have if we were actually all on campus. Thank you all very much. Good luck and good wishes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming in and motivating all of us. With this, now, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the reply speeches. I would like to call upon now for the reply speaker of the opposition. May you come in, Nirvair Singh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are not saying that parents are better educators than teachers, and we are not saying that they have the same role. In fact, we're saying the opposite. We're saying they have very, very different roles. But the impact of a parent's role is more important to the success of a student. And that's been our stance right from first speech to third speech, while they've been defining what success is, talking about Ferraris and wealth and a good job. But now let's move on to summarize what happened today, right? So both sides agreed right from Prime Minister and Leader of Opposition speech, agreeing that success is holistic, success is subjective. It could be owning a Ferrari, or it could be the pleasure of giving the 10 rupees you earn all to charity. Success is what success is. Success is what success is to you. And side proposition went on about that all across their three speeches, asking us, oh, you haven't told us what success is. Oh, you haven't defined success. We agree with you. We agreed with you right from the beginning. It's just that what we did and you didn't do is that we told you the reasons for why parents have greater impact than teachers. Our worthy proposition carried on and didn't tell us why teachers, didn't give us concrete reasons as to why teachers were better than parents at, for the success of a child. But instead they talked about how they have credibility, experience, they're employed, but that's irrelevant. Your personal background and identity and your anecdotes are not relevant at this point. We are talking about reasons for parents versus reasons for teachers. And we told you so much about that. We told you the parental bond is the only constant. Teachers come and go, wives come and go, right? But we agree, but yes, we agree that teachers do make an impact, but it is temporary, one. And secondly, it is not always, it's not, a teacher's voice is not the voice at the back of your head. It's not the person who you interact and live with on a day-to-day basis, or the person that comes and visits you 5 times a year, right? But, and this leads me to the crux of today's debate, which is that for a student's success, for a child's success, for anyone's success, they themselves are only solely responsible. The only 2 factors that can play into this are motivation and upbringing, both of which are governed by teachers and parents. But we had to tell you why parents more than teachers. We had to weigh that balance for you, and we have, because we tell you Because when we talk about motivation, for instance, right, we tell you that parents brought you up, they provided you opportunities, they always lended you an ear for the first 13 years of your life. And as we told you in the first speech, because we have so much more contact with parents now, they do it even at Doon. Through the phone, with a Facebook message, whatever it may be, they are still there. Their ear, they still have that, their ear is still there. And they'll hear you and they'll give you advice, right? Now, the thing is that, and I've said this 2-3 times already, but they're always in your shadow to support and motivate you. And that's something they fail to engage with, right? Because the old boys only remember Mr. X Singh from 1990 when they come on such platforms. But every morning, do they call, text, or remember their father or Mr. X Singh from 1990? Does Mr. X Singh from 1990 fly down to Chicago or London when someone is in a bad space or needs needs to get back on their feet, or is having a bad day or having a bad week or a bad month? No, it's a person's mother. And that's why we tell you, if we're talking about motivation, your parents are there throughout. Your teachers make a very, very, very big impact, but that's only for those 5-6 years. And that's what we've been saying in first, in second, in third, and now in summative speeches as well, right? So therefore we tell you, because they are your constants through life, which, like, even if we conceive that the 6 years that you spend at Doon are governed entirely by your teachers, it's the teacher's domain, right? We tell you that in this maze called life, it's your parents who will always have your back and not your teachers, how much ever they may try. It's mutually exclusive. This is the second time I'm saying it. I beg you to oppose.
Thank you, Nirvair. Nice to hear the opposition putting a summative reply. Now, may I call upon the proposition side, Vikram Soni, to come and put up your reply.
Thank you, sir.
Spoke about 4 minutes, 30 seconds and exceeded the time limit by 59 seconds.
Thank you for, again, thank you for having us. It's wonderful to see the passion of youth. One starts to forget that. And I would say it is also wonderful to see the naivete of youth when you say, wives come and wives go. I'm just glad my wife is not awake yet. And you talk about how your parents lend you an ear for the first 13 years of your life. My 4-year-old, if she listens to me in the morning once, I'll be happy for the rest of the day. So it's wonderful to get that energy injected here first thing in the morning where I'm sitting. But you know, we've had an interesting conversation, and it feels a little bit like two trains passing each other in the night, because there is no question that parents have different roles. There is no question that parents and teachers have an incredibly important stewardship of their wards and their students' careers and lives. But let me just say that who pays Adit is not responsible for the outcome. And insure, as Nakul said, just because the insurance company pays for your procedure doesn't mean that the surgeon is not the person responsible for that. Just like that, because your parent pays for your schooling doesn't mean that the teacher isn't responsible for the outcome. And what about parents without resources? What about parents who don't have the time or the money or the education, as we're seeing globally today? The teacher's role is incredibly important. And you talk about this intangible obligation that students have to their parents. Well, let me tell you, we defined success. We defined it clearly. We defined it as wealth, but we also defined it as personal impact. We defined it as the ability to make a difference. That's what Doon stands for, the ability to actually leave this world a better place than we found it. And we provided personal examples of that. We provided examples of impact. There's a wonderful video of Sachin Tendulkar talking about his coach, Ramakant Achrekar, where at the end of every day, Ramakant Achrekar used to keep a 1 rupee coin on top of the stumps, and he used to have everyone else bowl at Sachin. And Sachin used to say, I was exhausted, but I used to be there trying to grit it out. And that, he says, installed great mental strength in him. These are the kinds of intangibles that teachers and coaches install in their wards. And these are the kinds of things that you really can't get from anyone else. Even on parents who might be strapped for time and other resources. And so I'd say in summation, the role of both is important. The role of the self, as we discussed, is also important. But what it comes down to is that there is a reason that teachers exist in a society that you can see disrupts institutions that don't have relevance, that aren't pulling their weight. And the fact that education today is one of the greatest topics the world knows and the world values is something that we feel is extremely important, much more important than the roles of the others. And as Ashwin would say, there's a reason that India is a Dronacharya Award, and when we have a Pandu or Dhritarashtra Award, then we'll accept your proposition. Till then, we ask you to support our proposition. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 27 seconds.
Well, with this, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to an end of this year's Chandbagh virtual debate. As I mentioned earlier, we have a diverse panel of judges, and it's very important to hear them out. I would now like to invite the judges to comment on the quality of the debate, as well as present their views on this motion. May I first request Ms. Saloni Goyal to please present her views. Ms. Saloni Goyal.
Dr. Jagpreet Singh, thank you so much for requesting me to. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, ma'am.
So I would like to comment and congratulate the school, which is now ably led by our new headmaster, Dr. Jagpreet Singh, to have continued the Chandbagh debate tradition despite these very, very challenging times. I don't think there are many institutions across the world who can boast of continuing non-academic activities in the COVID times. PMV sir, along with your behind the scene team, you have once again managed to pit old boys and the young students against each other, and this time strategically, I would say. I think keeping in mind the distance makes the heart grow stronger. The students are perhaps further away from their parents, so they're probably more kind to their parents in their arguments. And old boys, I think, can be kinder towards their teachers and their masters. And I think that amply came out in this conversation today. So I would say that, I think the whole debate is centered around how we define success. And while success was defined as, I would say, more in professional sense by the opening speaker, and in that case, I would agree that masters have a great role to play I would say, direct role to play. But at the same time, parents actually prepare the soil on which masters sow the seed of knowledge. So, but there are several other definitions of success. How people contribute to society, their happiness quotient, as somebody put it, and their satisfaction level. I think somewhere that stems from our value system, and parents have as much, if not a greater role to play in helping children define their value systems. Parents as well as the framework at home, the upbringing at home. But of course, the upbringing, especially in a boarding school, and the 6 years that our children spend in a boarding school also has a very defining role in it. But I would just like to draw everybody's attention to new research, which also indicates that it's not parents, it's not masters, it's not our context, it's not our genes, it's not our environment, but perhaps peers also have a very strong influence on our behaviors and our choices. And I think therein, the strong community that the student community that Doon provides children has a very strong influence on not only their success, if we can define success, but also in their choices, which ultimately defines their success and happiness in life. Now, coming to this debate today, very stimulating. It was energizing to see that kind of passion in the students, and it's interesting to see how the old boys have uh, in some ways settled or balanced their passion, and they're approaching or taking on the young boys with as much calm and composure as they it's nice to see. And I hope that our young students, the passion, I think that passion is an asset, and I hope to go on with this passion through your life. But I also hope you learn to temper it and display it at the right times, and display it strategically. Also, I would like to say that um, it's good that now these boys are going to be stepping out into the world and seeing a world which is beyond the boundaries of the Doon School. Because success, parents' influence, masters, they will all be very different once you not parents' influence, but masters and how you are taught, and academic environments, professional environments. They're going to be extremely different from the way you've been encountering it, and I think in their own ways they'll pose different kind of challenges to you. So it'll be good that when you step out and you see what the world is about and the variety that the world has to offer you, and I'm sure that that will add value, and it'll help to you know um, make your edges less sharp, make you better persons. And I'm sure that once you step out, you'll contribute a lot to the society. Thank you so much for having me here. I feel indeed very, very privileged. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Saloni Goyal. It was wonderful to hear you. And let me tell you, I could see a clear blend, a mother speaking to a headmaster, but at the same time, a judge addressing to everyone. It was always such a pleasure to hear you, but today you were special, ma'am. Now, may I invite the school captain of 2020-21, Ajay Pratap Garewal, who's leading the student community, who was a judge today, Ajay Pratap Garewal.
Good evening, everyone. So firstly, I want to thank everyone, especially the school community, for inviting me to be on the panel. And welcome, Chairman, Mr. Munjal. It's lovely to have you with us over here. And I really can't explain how weird it is for me to sit in front of a laptop in my SC form and be part of the virtual debate, but I have to cope with it. So what was the observance? Because learning, I think, is very closely linked with observance. If you're at home, you learn observing your parents. If you're in school, your observance is your role models are your masters and your teachers. So if you have a good role model and someone you look up to, if he's leading you in the right way, there's no way that you can deviate from the path. Another thing that I realized while judging the debate was that the conversation and the debate that happened here was very different from what would happen in a normal day school. Because in our school, the concept of the topic, this house believes teachers contribute more to a student's success than parents, and the fact that teachers for us aren't just teachers, they're masters. The fact that their learning doesn't just stop in the classroom, they go with us for our midterms, they're back in the houses, they really contribute to our pastoral life. So had it been any normal school, a day school, they would have just said that no, teachers are just for our academic growth, and that's really what's pumped up the game for the debating, from the debating point of view. Secondly, and I would like to go with the point that Mr. Vikram Soni made. There's this saying, and it's in Hindi, so don't mind me saying it. Guru Gobind doy khade kake lago paye, balihari gur apne Gobind diyo bataye. So in a way, it says that if the guru is the one who leads you to your end result or your goal, then there's no way that the guru is any lower than the end result or your success. So I think any guru for that matter plays a very vital role in your development. And especially from our people from our country, we know of stories where people like Eklavya donated their thumb just as Guru Dakshina for their masters. So when we have people and examples like these in our country, there's no way we can look over or just deny the fact that teachers don't play a vital role. While at the same time, the fact that parents play a very important role in your upbringing, because obviously they're flesh and blood, and it's their responsibility, they have to do it irrespective of what. But the fact that teachers match up to the level of the debate and being compared to masters just because it's their profession, and one is that you have a blood relationship with them. It really is a victory in itself for the masters. Lastly, I'd like to say that today in the debate, I could not only see a disparity in ideas, but also sense the age gap, probably because we've never been parents, and most of the people I can see on the panel and the judges, they've themselves been parents, and they know what it means to be a parent. Even my parents always say, you'll get to know once you become a dad, and then you'll realize what it means to be a parent. So we can't really make many statements and judgments based on that. We're only students right now. So, but overall, I believe both the opposition and the proposition really did put up a good show. And I really want to thank everyone who's on the call, who's watching the live streaming, for being with us. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Ajay. It's so wonderful to hear your views. And I'm so very happy to see how well you have been raised in the school. And my compliments on sharing your views with us all today. May I now request the legend, Mr. Devgan, to say a few words and address us all.
Thank you, Headmaster. Thank you for inviting me. It's been a real pleasure listening to the old boys and the present boys. I think picked up a rather interesting topic. And I think this is what's been debated all over these days. I really enjoyed the enthusiasm and the passion the young boys had, and of course, the maturity the older boys showed. It took me back, years, 25 years, so to say, when I used to listen to these young boys debating in school, and they haven't lost their passion or their talent. In fact, they have matured. And it's very interesting, the way the views were put out by both of them. Of course, to us, parents and teachers are just as important. And in the school, it's, slightly different to most of the schools around the world, because the Doon School boys have spent their early years with their parents, where everyone will agree that, that's a very, very impressionable age. That is where the children pick up the values and things like that. And having been with the parents for almost 10 years, the most crucial 10 years, and coming on to school and then still guiding them on, and then, of course, teachers adding their bit, supplementing to it, becoming the mentors. And I think it's a great thing that these children are very lucky that this happens. And of course, I also heard about what's happening today. Ashwin said how difficult it is looking after kids, bringing them up, teaching them. And the kids themselves, feel that it's time to go back to school now. And my wife and I are both teachers. She's still working, and I see her working even more than she did when the schools were open. And meeting the teachers online, the students online, having classes. So, these are tough times. And I think the school has done very well to go through this. And it's just so good to see the young boys, so passionate. And I wish them well. And thank you once again for having me as a judge of this debate. And wish you all well. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. RP, it's always such a treat to hear you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views on this platform. I would now like to call upon the representative of the batch of 95, Mr. Shiven Malhotra, to please come and share your views.
Thank you, Headmaster. Thank you all the judges. Thank you everyone who's watching, and the Board of Governors, if you're there, as Sunil Manjal sir is there. The debate was an excellent one, seeing both sides. Of course, I feel we won. There's no two ways about that. But I was messaging my friends on the debate that seeing the boys from school, it just reminded us of what it used to be like back in school when we were there 25 years ago, as Mr. Devgan had just mentioned. Look, in terms of the debate, pretty much everything has been said, but I'll just put in 2 points, which, as we were speaking, One was Ajay Grewal specifically mentioned, the school captain mentioned that a lot of it's about actually observing. And in that, what you basically mean is that there's certain things that can't be taught, but can be learned just by observing, whether that's your parents or your teachers. Um, that's something which the kids themselves have to take on. And Mrs. Sonali Goel had mentioned that that peers have a strong influence, and it reminds me of a quote actually from a movie actually called Renaissance Man. It said, "The choices you make dictates the life you lead. To thine own self be true." I think that's more and more true as time goes on, and you've got more and more things bombarding you, like in social media, where you expect an immediate response or immediate gratification, and fewer times you actually go in and understand the subject. So in a time like that, a debate like this is actually great to see people who actually take the time to think through the topics, come in with a view and passion, and debate it out. Last year I came to Founders thinking that I'll get a quick dry run of how it's supposed to be, so I'll be ready this year for my batch. I mean, how wrong was I when I thought about that? And just to that point, Headmaster sir, we always think that the first Founders that you're in, you will remember. I can honestly say you will not forget. So thank you all for all your time, and thank you guys to my batchmates who made the time, especially Vikram for waking up that early, and for everybody else who put in the time. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Shivan, and congratulations to the 95 batch for the Silver Jubilee celebrations. Though we are on a virtual platform, but our souls connect. We are feeling so close to you. Believe you me, our love can reach there. Now I would like to call upon the English debating captain of the school, Adit Chatterjee, to present his vote of thanks.
Thank you, Headmaster. Debating, especially at a platform such as this one, and with an audience like the one on this live stream, is always demanding and intense. However, what makes the Chandbagh debates truly special is the sheer divergence of perspective that both sides argue from. On one hand, the novelty of three young adults who have begun to question the world we live in, and on the other, the maturity of three gentlemen who have thrived in the world beyond the four walls of Chandbagh. For an event of such scale and significance, there is a vast effort put in by a number of individuals, without whom this prestigious event would remain impossible. On the very outset, I'd like to thank our distinguished judges, Ms. Saloni Goel, Mr. R.P. Devgan, and Ajay Pratap Grewal, for sparing some time for us in their heaving calendars. I'd also like to thank the batch of 95, the debaters, Mr. Ashwin Bhatia, Mr. Vikram Soni, and Mr. Nakul Sood, and the standbys, Mr. Utsav Baijal and Mr. Dilip Agoy. And finally, the batch representative, Mr. Shaveen Malhotra, for being with us today and sharing that cogent and deliberated assessment of the motion at hand. I would like to thank the headmaster for not only chairing this debate, but also for his enthusiastic and enduring support behind the scenes. I am indebted to the Deputy Headmaster, Mr. Kamal Ahuja, Deputy Head Academics, Mr. Debashish Chakravarti, the Deputy Head of Pastoral Care, Ms. Tuti Kutiala, Wing Commander Anupama Joshi, Mr. Hamad Faruqi, and Ms. Abia Kezelbash for their support in the preparation of this debate. A big thank you to our master in charge of debating, Ms. Priyanka Bhattacharya, for her ceaseless guidance and support, and a very special thank you is due to Mr. Arjun Bartwal, Mr. Devendra Mishra, Mr. Anjan Chaudhary, Ms. Kritika Jugran, Mr. Ambikesh Shukla, and Mr. Vishal Mola for working so very hard in every conceivable way to ensuring the flawless proceedings of this event. Additionally, I would like to propose a very special thank you to the IT team of the Chandbagh Debates for making this debate truly possible at such a testing time. No debate is truly successful without an attentive and responsive audience. I'd like to thank everybody in this audience for making it a pleasure to debate before you. Lastly, though, I'd like to thank the man whose brainchild it was to have the Chandbagh Debates in the very first place. Thank you, Mr. Piyush Malviya, for being an indispensable part of the Chandbagh Debates and truly making it possible. At the end of the day, what really compels all of us to gather together like this is a shared love for our school and a sense of pride in being, in the truest sense of the word, DOSCOs. Thank you so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, Adit. It was wonderful hearing you and expressing your vote of thanks. And now, of course, the most awaited, the results. But hold on, results are not going to be announced so soon. As I announced earlier, this was the pre-debate opinion poll, where I said 47.3% of audience believe that teachers contribute more to the success of students. And at that time, 52.7% were believing that parents contribute more to the success. Now we have the post-debate poll also with us. I'm reminded of the couplet what our school captain Ajay Pratap Garewal said. Guru Govind do khade kaake lagu paye, balihari Guru aapne Govind diyo bataye. Is it going to live to this, or is we going to belie this? I have to say further a couplet, which I learned in my school, I remember. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Are these couplets only as couplets? Or is the significance of the teacher or a parent, who's more important, or are they equal on the scales? Can we have a difference between a parent? Because a parent in a residential school like ours, a teacher takes a role of a parent and a parent actually becomes a teacher? Well, the results will soon be with me. But I must congratulate both the teams, whether proposing or opposing. They did a great debating. It was great quality debate. And rightly said in between, when the young Doskos, the boys were full of exuberance and energy, the old boys were very composed and very mature. That's what life teaches you, isn't it? But here, I've just been past the results and they are right in front of me. I don't want to make you feel any guesses because we're all online. I would not be able to hear you. But I'll start with your permission, Adit, I'm doing that. Most promising speaker, Nirvair Singh. Let's hear for him. The best speaker is Adit Chatterjee. Well done. And the winner of the Chandbagh debate, well, the opposition has taken it. They are the current boys who have won the Chandbagh debate, first virtual debate 2020. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of today's proceedings. I hope you enjoyed this debate. And now we have the inauguration of exhibitions, where our boys have put in a lot of hard work to put this exhibition for you. Very soon, we shall see you there. Goodbye till then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that cricket, hockey, football, that's the
अच्छा, that's the one.
That's Grand Slam.
Oh, बड़ा मुश्किल होता है ना तीनों ले जाना.
I think last time it won was in 2011.
हाँ.
So if you get win 3 of them, if a house wins, then you
So you
yeah, so it's like,
okay. But when you talk about cricket, that means what? Your first level cricket or your aggregate cricket scores?
House Cup overall.
Overall.
The SDB one.
Okay, we are actually on YouTube live.
Sir, will you please inaugurate the exhibition?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hi, good evening. Good evening. Wonderful. Hi, Avi. Are you a photographer?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Which are your photographs?
So the one on the top.
That bird?
Yes, sir.
And this one?
Yes, sir.
What is this picture?
So during we were roaming around campus and we saw this one hornbill that fell off of its nest, and
Okay.
we tried to rescue it. And
So it's injured?
it was injured and sadly it died.
It died.
Yes. So during the rescue, I clicked this photo.
So are you a bird watcher? What?
Yes, sir.
Are you truly interested with birds and that's how you take the photographs also?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good, Avi.
Thank you, sir.
What form are you in?
So I'm an A, sir.
Very good. Very nice. And it's a very beautiful hobby, I must tell you. You must pursue it further. Okay? Very proud of your son. Yes, Sangeet.
This was a final outcome of our GCSE Art and Design coursework. It's done in concrete and steel.
So how much time he must have taken?
So they worked, this B form and A form, they worked throughout the 2 years to get to this outcome.
And such a beautiful idea. I mean, this is what the child's creativity is. Very good. I'm very impressed with your tie. What tie is this?
Yes, so this is the school arts activity tie and the school colors tie.
A school color tie. Wonderful, Shivya. Very nice. So where are you taking me now?
Yes, I'm moving on.
Yes. Yes.
So this artwork was done in a terracotta workshop we had earlier this year with Sri Ramkumar Nandaji.
Okay.
And this artwork was done by SC Former.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yes.
We have a linear painting done by one of our students.
That's very good. So he's making the series of Ganesha?
Yes, he's interested in that theme. So he's done a lot of explorations in similar.
And his theme is Ganesha?
Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting. Very nice. Okay.
This is another out of the terracotta workshop we had earlier.
Okay. So how much time do you spend really on the activity like this?
On practicals, we have, let's say, about 4 to 5 classes.
Okay.
In 6 days. And then we come and we spend extra time after classes, after lunch, for studio time.
And during the founders, then you would be giving a little more time, of course, to prepare all these. Very nice. Very good, Shivya.
This is the final artwork. This is again experiment done by an SC farmer. He was exploring the idea of the human soul and he came up with this.
So what is this theme? I mean, what is he using? What is this material?
So he carved thermocol and then
Thermocol?
Yes, and then he put plaster on it. So it's a mix of a lot of materials.
So does it get weathered? I mean, what happens when we keep it out in the sun or the rain? Does anything happen, or you give a lacquer polish to this?
Yeah, you have to maintain it regularly.
Okay. I must say you boys are doing an excellent work. Doskos, you are super. I must tell you this. I mean, I've seen the photographs, and your photography club is absolutely phenomenal. And look at this. And in such a short time, you could put up an exhibition. I really give the credit to you. Very nice.
Just a part of our exhibition, so I hope you like it. And we have much more on the virtual platform.
So that virtual exhibition will go on. How long would that be?
It's only for about 10 to 15 minutes. We have
Excellent, excellent. Very proud of you. Very well done, Doskos. Very well done. Very proud of you. Very good. It's so wonderful to see the boys doing such excellent work here. Not only have they been able to put up this wonderful exhibition here, they are also putting a great show online. I wish these boys all the very best, do well in life, and continue to put in a great effort into the STS. God bless.
Hello everyone. At the onset of the pandemic and lockdown, many of us were uncertain of its permanence. But as soon as this new normal slowly set into place, people began getting used to living their lives on online platforms. But despite the current physical restrictions, our mind is not bound by any limits. Henry Matisse had once said, "Creativity takes courage." And I believe that during this lockdown, many have taken courageous steps towards creativity. Time and again, as history substantiates it, art documents who we are, where we come from, what happens with us, and how we react to it. Art has never been about aesthetic beauty. It has always been about giving life to those things that cannot be spoken. During the course of this lockdown, the art department had made it a point to continuously engage the school community with regular posts in our art society classrooms, as well as participate in various inter-school competitions and conferences. We did not want these unprecedented times to stand as a barrier in our annual art exhibition at Founders Day. So our department decided to take this opportunity to create a virtual art exhibition. This exhibition, titled Intangible Connections, Art on the Virtual Platform, displays the works of students done pre-lockdown as well as artworks done at home. I hope that through this exhibition, we realize that creativity never stops, no matter where you are. So, without any further delay, I present to you Intangible Connections, Art on a Virtual Platform.
Hi everyone, I'm an ex-Tosco and I recently passed out, and I took art in S and SE form, and it was probably the best decision of my life. So I'm going to tell you two things. First of all, if you're passionate for art, you have to understand one thing: it takes time, patience, practice, equipment, and for all that, you eventually need to come to the art school. So that's like the most important thing. So I spent most of the time at art school, and that's how I got my work done. I'm currently at UCL studying architecture itself, and I wouldn't have gotten to this place if it weren't for the art school. And the second most important thing, and I think that's what I learned from art school, is that it's not only about the skill, and it's not only about you go there and you do your work and then get out. It's the bond you form with the teachers, the staff, whoever's helping you out. So every department has a different teacher, as you know, and different things happen. And I didn't always go to the art school to work. I went there to chat, gossip, sit around, learn about the future, because they're the most knowledgeable. And the most you can make of your time in art in school is in the art school. You can't do anything else. You can't go anywhere else, because that is the best place. Also, I really want to encourage people to take art very seriously. I think I'm the first person who's studying architecture at UCL, and it is not a bad feel. Everyone shouldn't just be like, art is not serious and art is not good. Art is serious, and art is a very prominent thing in today's world, so I think you all should pursue it as well.
Hi, good evening. I hope all of you are enjoying your virtual founders, and this is probably the one time that founders will be held online. It's been about 7 months since we graduated, and I'm definitely missing school, all my teachers, my house, my friends, but especially the art department, because they really were the ones who guided me from C form to SC form and also provided me with guidance for the future, right? I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Not many people do in C form, but the art department really helped me explore the different fields of art and design, from textile, sculpture, ceramics, digital painting, and actually even many more. They sort of, showed me what all is possible and helped me decide for myself what's going to work best for me. And the kind of resources that we were made available to us, the kind of opportunity we were given, that's extraordinary. I don't think that you'll find those kind of resources anywhere else. It's more than just the facility that's in school, right? It's the kind of support that all the teachers in the art department gave us.
who could think and watch from the rear view what you are leaving for the generation behind. You had some glorious years and passed out from Doon School. Today, what you have left for this present generation and the generations now to come, believe you me, how fortunate are they? They will be sitting in this classroom.
I think it's a privilege, it's an honor to be able to give back. I think my brother, father, and I were all alumni. This classroom was one of my first classrooms in school where Mr. U.C. Pandey taught English. And I'm looking forward to sharing whatever we can with him, after this ceremony. So that's one. He was not only my English teacher, he was also my housemaster for many years. So, we were blessed to have him in our lives, and someone who played a very important role in not just our academics, but also bringing us up. I've had the privilege of serving the school since I left as a student in a slightly different capacity. And many of the plans for revitalizing these classrooms were built during that time, where we had an opportunity to serve the board of the school. So thank you, and congratulations for coming in. Congratulations for coming in as headmaster.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vivek.
So Doon has been part of our lives for as long as we can remember. Even before joining, and I joined at the age of 11, we knew a bunch of DOSCOs and their families. Today, many of our friends and even relationships in business trace back to our days at Doon. So frankly, I feel very grateful to the school, and I feel honored, to be able to give back in this, small way to an institution that continues to leave a big footprint on our lives.
Yeah.
Well, both schools have spoken, the headmaster has spoken, and we really want to hear the man speak now. The man behind the show, the patriarch.
Well, it gives us real pleasure that Vivek has contributed for this classroom. Now, I understand it's a smart classroom, which will have many modern facilities in it for the students. And so I'm very appreciative that Doon School is marching ahead with this kind of technology.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. And if you allow, I would just ask the guys to show you a screenshot of the plaque which is being placed at the draw.
Yes.
Yep.
After that, we request the camera to just pan around so you can get a view of the class.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, ma'am. Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Lovely to participate in this.
But when you come back, I can promise you the first lesson, the first school in this will be yours. So you have to come and address the students.
Thank you very much. It will be an honor.
Yeah. So you're actually being projected. We are talking to you on the main board right now through the projector in the smart classroom. Thank you once again.
Thank you once again.
Thank you. And good luck with the editing. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
I look forward to seeing all of you soon. Take care.
Our regards to everyone. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
American economist Paul Samuelson once said, "Economics has never been a science, and it is even less now than a few years ago. Economic societies have vastly developed, shaping the world we currently live in. The Economic Society is extremely proud to present a slideshow on the evolution of economic society using Tony Buzan's mind mapping technique. Economics is the study of human behavior, and key to understanding this is the economic problem. It asserts that an economy has finite resources which are insufficient to satisfy all human wants and needs. To make a decision, we always sacrifice something, be it as simple as the time taken to watch a movie. This brings me to my next concept of opportunity cost, which is defined as the next best alternative foregone in the act of choice making. It even becomes the reason why countries function the way they do, as it tries to answer questions namely what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, giving rise to traditional, command, market, and mixed economies.
Borrowing the analogy of a plant, it might be safe to say that market economies developed from the seed of the economic problem to form strong roots that even now are deeply entrenched in the soil of society. These economies served as the first attempt at answering the all-important questions that arose from the economic problem. Production was made more methodical and efficient due to two important factors. First being the paradigm shift in technology and entrepreneurship. Secondly, the establishment of capital, such as roads and railways. This also allowed production to specialize and happen over a large region. Invariably, goods and services became more available and affordable. This appealed to consumers and producers and kept community surplus at the maximum.
With its tenets laid by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in 1848, communism disagreed with the prevalent economic systems, which were strong supporters of laissez-faire, which essentially meant that a government should not intervene in a market and rely on the market forces to reach an equilibrium. Economies which follow the communist ideology are known as command economies and work towards a classless society where all resources are equally divided by the government among its citizens, and there are collective benefits such as rewards, bonuses, and wages. But there is no concept of profit and private ownership. Everything is under the ownership of the government. Therefore, the government is the decision maker, and the central problems of the economy are answered by it. This results in an economy with low inflation, high employment, and a stable business cycle, but has offsets in the form of less efficiency as there is no competition, less innovation due to lack of incentivization, and also the violation of the right to choose. With the stock market booming in the late 1920s, there was a lot of investment in the market. People were trapped in a speculative bubble where people bought shares with the expectations of making more money. As the share prices rose, people started to borrow money to invest in the stock market. Much of this can be blamed on the over-exuberance and false expectations. Prices were not being driven by economic fundamentals but the optimism of investors. The agriculture recession also played a major role in the crash, as much before 1929, farmers were running out of businesses, as the demand for food wasn't increasing at the same rate as the supply, which increased due to the employment of new technology. Thus, the price of food grains fell, and there was geographical and occupational immobility. With the banks already burdened with the agriculture recession, around 5,000 banks collapsed after the stock market crash. The crash has shaped our history as we know it. It can be even blamed as one of the major factors contributing to World War II. It brought an end to the optimism in Europe during the 1920s and caused countries to impose tariffs and invade other countries for resources as they were asked to return the loan to the USA. Now looking at the rise of the public sector, John Maynard Keynes was the person who came up with Keynesian economics to correct the situation at hand. Opposed to the typical capitalist approach, Keynesian economics regarded government intervention as paramount and as the only way to correct the failure in the short run. In the long run, we're all dead. Keynes thought of the theory of invisible hands as inefficient and time-consuming. He stressed upon the role of the government in controlling the level of inflation, volume of money in circulation, taxation, investments in the economy, and many other things. This is modern-day economics as we know it. The monetary and fiscal policies in the hand of the government to prevent or correct a situation.
Modern capitalism came into being after the World War as countries looked to rebuild their economies, and in order to do so, they employed various facets of capitalism. One such example is of alliances, such as the European Union, which were formed to allow trade and heighten the degree of economic interdependence amongst countries. The fall of the Soviet Union also boosted the cause of capitalism as a major command economy perished, thus reaffirming many countries' beliefs in capitalism. Despite traditional capitalist norms, modern capitalist economies had a certain degree of government intervention. The public sector, which produced many essential goods, was an example of this. Regulation also became an important role that the government undertook. Economic growth shortly followed, where an unprecedented increase in demand incentivized producers as they looked to bolster production further with new technological innovations. This was the first time that the notion of the global economy came into being, an economy where countries indulged in trade which allowed the specialization of the types of goods produced. Also, transnational corporations set up globally and made many products available at a wide scale, whilst also boosting local and regional employment. There were some limitations to this modern capitalist model in the form of an high economic growth rate, which caused a high inflation rate, and new technological innovations increased the rate of unemployment. Certain countries bore the brunt of this in the form of local and regional disparities in income and in development as a whole. Due to this, there were many emergent models which have formed in recent times, and this shall be elaborated on further in the presentation.
The age of irrational exuberance is a rather recent and a more contemporary one compared to most other topics we've already covered. It refers to the time period which is also known as the death of the Homo economicus. Economists challenged several of the assumptions which were usually made about humans to prove that we're not the rational beings as once thought. Bounded rationality is a concept proposed by Herbert Simon. Our rationality is bounded because there are limits to our thinking capacity, available information, and time. A classic example of this is the various information asymmetries in the world. It was always assumed that all humans have had access to the exact same information. This is not true, leading to the irrationality in many decisions we make daily. Even if one assumes it to be true, not all human minds are capable of simultaneously processing complex information in an era where we have the internet to give us unlimited knowledge. Moving on, the focus now shifts to Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, two prominent behavioral economists who developed the dual model system. According to this model, human beings typically use one of the two systems while making any decision, the automatic system and the reflective system. The automatic system involves the fast and subconscious decision making, whereas the reflective system uses slower and better thought out decision making. This builds onto the concept of bounded rationality because if humans were actually rational, it would be expected of them to always use the reflective system. However, this is not true. The idea is further developed in Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Now I would like to move on to another concept in behavioral economics, which is the nudge theory. The nudge theory is mainly concerned with the designing of choices, which influences the decisions we make. It proposes that this designing should be based on how people actually think and decide, rather than how leaders and authorities traditionally believe people think and decide. It was a concept developed by behavioral economist Richard Thaler, who went on to publish the book Nudge, Improving Decisions About Health, Wealth and Happiness. So the next time you go to a supermarket, think about the various nudges present around you and think about why objects have been specifically placed where they are.
The recognition of the irrational exuberance sparked a critique of various modern economic concepts which were based on the idea of Homo economicus, the idealistic notion of an economic and rational human. As economists started viewing the world in different shades, numerous issues which were earlier neglected started emerging, resulting in Kate Raworth, an Oxford professor, creating the donut model, which was a major breakthrough in the field of macroeconomics. This modern branch of economics critiques the prevalent idea of growth at all costs, where measures such as GDP and GNP were extended to become not only economic but also political tools. Instead, it proposes a sustainable way forward, one which recognizes the social and environmental needs and promotes an economy that not just grows but also thrives. To do so, Raworth uses a model of a donut. Yes, a donut, which comprises a social foundation and an ecological ceiling. Both rings highlight the need to avoid social shortcomings and ecological exploitation to create a balance between the needs of the people and the needs of the environment. In order to thrive, economies should aim to be inside the welcoming green space of the donut. The adoption of this model faced resistance as it required an unprecedented paradigm shift. Ironically, the onset of COVID-19 has allowed for this transition to take place, and Netherlands and Denmark have been testament to this. As GDPs of numerous countries across the world fall and unemployment soars, governments are releasing hefty bailout packages in a desperate attempt to fuel economic recovery. These packages are the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that can be utilized to allow for this shift to take place. Once implemented, the model can break the vicious cycle of continued environmental degradation, biodiversity loss, and further zoonotic infectious disease outbreaks such as COVID-19, and lead to sustained balance in our social and environmental world. In view of this, it is time we start having a few donut-shaped conversations with the people around us, because it is only by adopting a 21st century model that we can solve the plethora of 21st century problems around us. In retrospect, economics has transitioned through the birth of several schools of thought to critiques of those thoughts, resulting in a monumental but eventual shift from the market mechanism to the market organism. The economic society has progressed like no other, testing its theories in the laboratory of the outside world and continuously evolving and adapting to the dynamic structure of the world that the subject so diligently tries to decipher.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Founders Day 2020 Business Club exhibition. We hope you enjoy it. The Doon School Business Club helps provide DOSCOs with opportunities to explore the financial world and learn more about it. We help them gain practical knowledge and exposure, which are extremely important assets for their development and future success. DOSCOs participate in a range of activities provided by this club, such as weekly meetings, business trips, KWHS investment competition, and Young Entrepreneurs Conference, and thus grow under the guidance and expertise of our teachers. The business trips provide DOSCOs with the practical knowledge and exposure needed to succeed as entrepreneurs in the future. During these trips, they take part in interactive sessions with the CEOs and managing directors to learn more about the challenges faced by entrepreneurs in the real world. By looking at how firms operate in real life, they gain practical experience to complement the theoretical knowledge they get in school. Some of the firms that DOSCOs have visited in recent business trips are Sonalika Group, Speedways Electric, and Nivea Sports. Given below are some of the pictures of the Jalandhar business trip. The Young Entrepreneurs Conference is one of the most sought-after events of the year for DOSCOs. This competition puts high school students aspiring to venture into the world of business in real-life simulations where they have to devise creative plans and make crucial decisions to solve problems faced by entrepreneurs in real life. Started in 2013 as one of the first competitions of its kind for high schoolers, this annual event attracts talented and innovative minds from all over the country and is an enriching experience to investors and conferences to discuss problems like sustainability in business. Together, these activities help lay the foundations of business for entrepreneurs of the future. Shown here are some of the pictures of the Young Entrepreneurs Conference.
The business club members also participate in the KWHS investment competition, one of the most prestigious investing competitions in the world, organized by the Wharton School of Business, University of Pennsylvania. In this competition, teams have to trade on a real-time stock exchange simulator and invest $100,000 in different shares provided by the KWHS approved stock list. The objective is not just to gain the maximum profit, but also meet the other potential objectives of the client, using the information provided in the client profile. Moreover, teams need to submit different reports discussing their investment strategies in detail. The teams then also need to present their portfolios and explain their plan in detail in front of seasoned investors in qualifying rounds. After many such rounds, the top teams travel to the University of Pennsylvania to showcase their intricately devised strategies in front of the actual client himself. The whole journey is extremely enriching for all participants, allowing them to learn new things every step of the way, regardless of how far they reached in the competition. The rigorous nature of the competition gives the students a glimpse into what investing in the real world is like. Furthermore, the challenges faced by them brings out the most innovative and creative sides in the students. They also gain important skills like leadership, teamwork, critical thinking, and problem solving under pressure. These highly important traits are also complemented by the exposure gained through the journey taken by the participants. Now, here are some of the pictures of DOSCOs participating in the KWHS investment competition.
Welcome to the Founders Econocrat Exhibition 2020. The Econocrat is the school's flagship economics publication where we print content pertaining to issues in economics, finance, and business. This year, in this presentation, we have endeavored to show what we at the Econocrat, which is more than just being a publication and institution, what we at the Econocrat strive to achieve. These are the last two issues that we have published. One is the Founders issue of 2019, while the other is the Spring issue of 2020. The purpose behind showing these issues today here is that we want to show how we at the Econocrat publish content that comes from a wide range of areas. Shown in this slide are two articles that cover the global issue of sustainability. On the left, we see an article that discusses the economic impacts of the wildfires in the Amazon rainforest, while on the right, we see an article that discusses the government policies that have been taken in order to introduce electric vehicles in India. Now, one of the most prominent features that we have at the Econocrat is the use of cartoons. Cartoons are used to help our readers visualize and understand our content better. So on the right, we see a cartoon that shows Nirmala Sitharaman introducing a green and electric bus in India. One of the most important things and one of the most different things that we see at the Econocrat is that we give a new economic aspect to general daily issues that we see in the world around us.
At the Econocrat, our primary aim is to engage our readers. In this article about religion and how it is India's biggest economic influencer, Keshav Tiwari writes engagingly, but is able to complement that writing with various means. Firstly, the Econocrat has used block quotes, which are key highlights that provide an insight into the article as well as breaking away from the general monotony of the text. Secondly, the solid pictures that are included, such as the Golden Temple in this article, associate with the article, and the use of colors, the use of complementary colors blends as well. And thirdly, the Econocrat uses categorized articles. So it uses the thread of economics to string together beads of various other areas of knowledge, such as, in this case, religion. The Econocrat strongly encourages thematic articles as well as articles that rebut as well as support economic theories and economic commentaries. This means that the Econocrat also supports articles that evaluate popular economic concepts, which is, in this case, unemployment benefits as well as basic income. In this article, I review and evaluate unemployment benefits as well as basic income in non-crisis states and show how they are more or less redundant and how they do not always fulfill their purpose. The use of thematic designs in this issue serves to complement the article and the content within the article, and this is supported by the cartoon and the picture that has been included.
The Econocrat also publishes articles and reports based upon financial topics such as business and stock market. Shown adjacent are two such articles from the Founders 2019 issue. The article titled Lyft Hits the Brake discusses the decline of Lyft stock, its reasons and consequences. And on the other hand, the report upon Vodafone Idea merger explores competition and market share. As an economics publication, our articles usually contain a number of statistics and references, to verify which we place citations below any article. Another important aspect of Econocrat as a digital publication is to include ideal design elements alongside the articles. These include the use of logos, associated pictures, infographics, a maintained color scheme, and illustrated graphics or icons. To provide an insight into any article, we use bylines. short sentences that include the author's name and differently justified text as shown in this slide.
The article that you can now see on your screen has been taken from one of our past issues. It talks about the Indian coal industry and how there was a short-term decline of the coal industry in India. Now, the Econocrat obviously does focus on things like businesses, sustainable economics, and does look at things from a macroeconomic point of view. But another really important aspect of this very publication is industry-specific articles and reports. In the past, we have published several of these articles on various industries like the healthcare industry and the aviation industry. Now, these articles are obviously very content heavy, and to make them more appealing to the reader, we use compelling infographics and statistics like the one you can see on the right in this very article.
Sports is a universal language which, transcending local, regional, national, and even global boundaries, connects people from across the globe. This is the language understood by one and all, irrespective of their qualifications or their education. Recognizing this, we at Econocrat analyze sports through an economic viewpoint with the belief that sports not only provide people solace but also livelihoods and employment. The sporting industry as a whole is a big driver of many economies, and thus we feel it is imperative that this often overlooked aspect of this industry is covered and reported in our issues. Like in this slide, we have analyzed the impacts of the Premier League on the British economy, while in another issue, we have analyzed the impacts of the IPL on the Indian economy. These articles make our issues more relatable and invigorating with our readers.
At Econocrat, we believe that politics is the most concentrated expression of economics, which is why we make it a point to cover the current affairs and recent political events. Politics is not only the link between all of the previously discussed topics, but also entails a much wider prospect, making it one of the most popular sections of our publication. In today's world, economic and political progress have become two facets of the same coin, making it imperative to look at each political decision from the viewpoint of economics. The Econocrat aims to do just that by analyzing some of the most pressing political events and providing both balanced and opinionated insights into them. In the past, we have covered events such as Article 370 and its impact on Kashmir, the 2019 Indian budget, as well as the general elections held recently. We also strive to look at political events from a local, national, and global perspective, focusing not only on Indian politics but also international events such as the Yellow Vest movement in France, the potential impact of Brexit, as well as the USA's elections and public policy. The foremost aim of our publication is to keep the readers engaged and deliver content in a stimulating and appealing manner. To do so, we make extensive use of infographics and cartoons for visual appeal, as well as Econopoll and Econospeak as a source of primary data collected from the school community. Infographics deliver statistics in a visually appealing manner, while a cartoon is worth 1,000 words, hence creating a much more profound impact in the readers. Econopolls and Econospeaks entail the collection of quantitative and qualitative data respectively, which allow for the publication to reflect on the views of our community and make the content much more stimulating. All in all, the Econocrat spares no efforts to complement the quality content of its articles with captivating pictorial elements in order to consistently deliver as the school's flagship economics publication. Over the course of the exhibition, the three pillars of the Accounts, Commerce and Economics Department, the Economic Society, the Business Club and the Econocrat have taken you through a short ride that represents the kind of work and commitment that students and masters alike have put in this field over the past few years. From the Economic Society's insightful presentation on the progression of economic thought, to the Business Club's empowering initiatives and conferences, and finally, the Econocrat's exploration of a plethora of current affairs, we hope that we have taken you through an engaging and fruitful journey, highlighting the tenets and ideals that the department truly stands for. We hope that all of you had an amazing and stimulating online experience, and with that, we come to the end of the Accounts, Commerce and Economics Exhibition 2020. Thank you.